So, hello everyone. It is Chris here again, and I want to go by and give you a brief tour of the Getting to Know You survey that I'm going to be assigning students on week one. So, my survey is pretty straightforward. There are a total of 15 questions and there are a total of 15 points. So, students earn 1 point per question that they answer. And for this assignment, they are expected to turn it in through Canvas by the end of the week on Sunday night at 11:59. And so I want to go by and just give you a very brief tour of some of the questions that I have right here. And so I'll go over a couple of questions here. So some of these are just pretty straightforward. For example, what would you like me to call you, right? I was going to use myself as an example. I prefer my students call me either Professor Artiega or Chris or Christopher. I leave that up to the individual in regards to the shortened down version of my name or the full version, Chris or Christopher. Um, I think one thing that's going to be really useful as well, right, is the pronunciation tips for saying their name, right? And so there's the option for them to go by and do that. And this came, I believe, from the main question that they had when we downloaded the survey in the first place. So that's a question that I think could be really useful. But a few more that I really want to go over and focus on are internet access reliability and device access. So one of the questions that I personally resonated with the most is, do you have reliable access to an internet-enabled device such as a computer, laptop, tablet, or other device? Are there concerns you want to disclose to me about your internet or device reliability? So, um, speaking from experience, I know how difficult it can be as a student, right? When you don't have reliable access, you might have to borrow someone's device, or you might have to go to a public library or something like that. It's really challenging. And so for me, I felt that this was a question that would just help me better understand my students more. And I'll give you a really good example. This is one of the instances I first had when I was starting teaching. This was at Sac State a couple of years ago during the spring 2020 semester. So that was the start of the COVID pandemic. And a couple of students, had issues with accessing technology. And so when the campus closed and when the library closed, they relied heavily on library services in order to complete their homework. Well, all of a sudden the library closes and the school had to quickly adjust. And so they allowed students to access the internet through the parking garages that they had on campus, right? But of course, this made it very difficult because at least some of my students would go by and say, "Hey, I don't have a laptop, or I'm relying on the school's laptops, or I'm relying on the school's computers." So I felt that for me, this was a question that would be worth asking because just because it's 2025 doesn't mean that students are always going to have access to those services. And then I think another question that could also be um, really helpful as well for my students would be to have them describe their learning style. So, for example, are they auditory learners? Are they kinesthetic learners? Are they visual? I might go by and modify this question by posting the various types of learning um, challenges that there are, the learning types of the students can be. However, I like this question as well because it gets students thinking, hey, maybe I'm in a class that's going to be very visual. There's going to be a lot of reading, there's going to be a lot of writing. But is there another way that I would prefer to receive information that isn't just written? And if they can tell me a little bit about that, that would be fantastic. And this question really comes from my experiences as a tutor. I would pick up right away students who were more auditory, students who were more kinesthetic, that had to sort of be doing things in order to understand the concepts. Students who are more visual, for example. So I think that those two questions I have are the questions I really like asking because with the first question, I have a better understanding of the students and their ability to access online course materials. And I understand that certain students are not going to have the ability, whether financial or personal, to access those things. And then the second one just tells me a little bit more about the student and how they process information best. So here are a couple of other questions I have as well in that survey. So for example, what is the one thing that is most likely to interfere with your success in this class? What are your inspirations in life? This just gives me an idea as to why they might be enrolled in this course, especially because a lot of the English courses are general ed courses. So I'm expecting some students to say, well, I'm taking this class because I need to graduate or because I need to transfer. But I think by having them tell me a little bit about their aspirations in life, it gives me a little bit more to sort of work with, right? Oh, well, here's what they hope to learn anyway. Yes, it's a general ed class, or yes, they need it for graduation, but what are they really hoping to do with the knowledge that they gain out of this class? And then I have a couple of other questions as well that do stand out to me, right? For example, is English a subject that they enjoy studying or not? And I want them to briefly rank it compared to the other subjects that they learn about in school. And a couple of other things as well, right? Like how any accommodations that they might have, any prior experiences that they might have with Canvas. This is just general information that gives me a little bit more to work with as an instructor. However, yeah, those are the questions I have for that survey. And thank you so much, everyone, for taking your time to watch this little mini lecture. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day.